Yeah, I've got plenty of time. Yeah.
Obviously there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world right now. Russia, Ukraine, Gaza, Israel, there's all that wild stuff. For you as someone who lives over there, do you worry about like the capabilities of your military moving forward? Do you worry it's maybe too small? Should it get bigger?
Uh,
Like, what's your opinion as someone who served at the tip of it, where you think the UK military is moving forward?
I think we're fucked. If we've got to go to war, we're fucked. We are fucked as a nation because I mean, how much can like the SAS, for example, it's a very small unit in itself. You've got a highly motivated bunch of guys in the hundreds. I'm talking like a couple of hundred, and then you got the rest of the British Army, which is scaled back, which probably isn't what it was. And then you've got the rest of the population who are would be the next generation to join the military, which isn't the same as generations gone by. Things have changed. People have changed. Social media plays a huge influence in young people's lives these days. The conditioning's all different. So people, the generational factor is massive here. So we would really, I think it would be a real struggle if we were to get summoned to form a military. I wouldn't have much confidence in that, but at the same time, I don't have any confidence in the government. I don't trust any of our politicians. I think they're all corrupt as fuck. Hate them all, and that's the honestly, that's me being really blasé about that. But I wouldn't want my son to join the army now. That's the last thing I'd want him to do. I don't want my son to follow in my footsteps. I did all that shit because I didn't really have many options, hoping that he's going to have way more than I did. And I would protect him against that because I don't trust the people, I don't trust the powers that be, is the fact of the matter. So that's where I'm sat at the moment with that. Yeah, I'm very, very passionate about that.
Yeah,
Why would anyone want to go and fight for a country that can't look after its own?
I love
No one's
this.
going to want to do that.
I'm so happy you brought this up because you have opened a can I would love to unpack with you. Number
Yeah.
one, is a combat veteran. One of the things that drives me crazy, and I was never in the military whatsoever, but I'll turn on the news and you'll see politicians or talking heads on the TV, and
Hmm.
they talk about sending young American men to just every conflict that the world has ever
Yeah.
seen. Let's send 100,000 troops to Ukraine. Let's send them wherever. I think that's insane to talk about that so casually, as if those aren't people's kids. You're an actual combat veteran. When you hear politicians or the media, they just talk about these lies like they're numbers on a paper. What do you say to those people?
There's a Scottish music artist called Jerry Cinnamon, right, who I absolutely love, and he's very much into his politics and he's very anti-establishment. He's a Scottish guy, and there's one of his songs called War TV, and the lyrics, if it serves me right, he says he's talking about politicians. He says they're all quick to make war, but they won't send their sons. Shout the odds like a gangster, but they won't hold a gun. Right, and those lyrics really etched in my mind. And it's true that epitomizes in a couple of sentences the nature of the beast as far as the politicians from both sides, from all sides. But they're very quick to say, yeah, we'll send troops. It's like they're not like fucking disposable, little minions that don't mean anything because they don't have families. You're talking about people, and then they're okay because they can sit there and say this because they're sat there in their ivory tower. They're protected. They're always going to be okay, but they don't give a shit about anyone else but themselves. And they're the ones that are profiting from all this shit in the first place. Because it's the reasons behind why we go to war. This is a real fucking huge subject. But I mean, when you think about, proud to fight for your country, there was a time when you could probably say that a long time ago. But nowadays, even when I went to Iraq, I have bad feelings about even being in Iraq. Why did we go to Iraq? Why were people killed in Iraq? Because of the regime that was happening there, because of Saddam Hussein was such a bad person, or was it because they wanted to orchestrate something that was going to make loads of fucking money for the right people? Come on, fucking,
I,
it's a joke.
I think one of the things people have to get, I think the way we frame war is broken. And if I was the president of the United States and I felt there was a threat so grave, like World War II, where we
Hmm.
we don't have a choice. We have to fight. It is a
Yeah.
matter of our existence.
Hmm.
I would look people straight in the eyes and say, look, we either do this or we don't. If we don't do this, this country might not
Yeah.
exist. And let's
Mm.
understand the cost. We're going to destroy an entire generation of young men. People are going to get killed. They're going to get maimed. There'll be mental health problems. Families will be
Yeah.
destroyed. But that's a price we feel is worth it in this
Yeah.
situation. That's not how they talk about it. It's we're going to
No,
go over there. We'll punch them in the face. Everything will be fine. And we'll come back here. It'll be no big deal. It never works like that, ever.
it doesn't.
And I agree with you 100%. Just the way these politicians, it drive. Now I'm getting fired up. It's, it's, it's absolutely crazy. You talked about social media and how it's broken this generation. I would really love to talk to you about that because I agree with you 100%. Why do you say that social media has been such an issue?
It's people are becoming mentally obese. It's like eating too much sugar. Only difference is it's the visual of the dopamine. It's the dopamine that they're getting from the visual aspect rather than from eating junk food. But I mean, they're doing both. People are doing both these days. But I mean, I'm on my phone too. I spend too much time on my phone, and I'm quite disciplined with stuff. You know, I've got quite a lot of self-discipline, and it's one of the things that I still think, shit, there you go again. I just lost 20 minutes of my day because I've been looking at shit on social media. So I've got to like check myself in. With these kids, it's like it's normal because we grew up without mobile phones. I mean, I'm not sure how old you are, but I mean, I'll be 47 this year, and I didn't have my first mobile phone until I was in my 20s. First smartphone when I was in my 30s. So it wasn't normal, and but these kids have grown up with this. It's been normal to them from a very young age, and so when it's normal, that is your condition because everyone's got their own condition, and wherever we are at any point of our lives right now, we've got a point of right now in time, and we have a set conditioning depending on what we've experienced for our whole lives. So if their experience has been through a phone or an iPad, that's the way their brain's conditioned. And so the dopamine, the chemicals in your brain and the neurotransmitters and everything that's fired together and then wired together eventually, the dopamine that they get from picking their phone up and checking Instagram or Snapchat or TikTok, whatever shit they look at, um, they'll subconsciously constantly look for that same dopamine hit. So that it's like anything, it's a battle between the conscious and the unconscious mind. So unconscious, they're doing all this stuff completely unconsciously. I mean, even I find myself sometimes going, "Oh, there's Instagram," and then I'll open Facebook, and then I'll go back to Instagram and remember that I've just been into Instagram because it's the same shit I'm looking at, and go, "I was in there like literally 15 seconds ago. Why am I checking it again?" But I catch myself. They don't. They're just going on it and scroll. It's just like reels, 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 and it's like a fucking it's like a surgical attachment that they're constantly seeking the dopamine,
So
and that's it.
you said you have one son. How many kids you got?
I've got two kids, one son, one daughter. My daughter's 19, my son's 8.
Okay. So your son's 8. Are you going to let him have a smartphone at any point? Like when would